Hello, and welcome to the W.A.I.T channel. What Am I Thinking? A podcast where two sisters share uplifting conversations on fun and sometimes serious topics.
Join us each week by clicking the notification bell and subscribing to our channel. If you enjoy the show, use the share link. It's one of the best ways to expand the conversation.
Welcome to What Am I Thinking, the W.A.I.T channel. So this week we are going to talk about a series sort of reboot return and a series that is sadly but wonderfully, because of the way they did it, coming to a series end. So let's talk about the series that is ending first. I know. We're talking about Issa Rae's wonderful Insecure. I'm very sad that Insecure is ending, but I'm so glad that I found it when it started. I think I probably, I did find it season 1, but I wasn't season 1, episode 1. It took me a minute. I probably came in late in season 1, but so grateful that I found it.
The writing was just superb.
Yeah. And I did not know about her internet series, so I had never seen that. So she was a breath of fresh air because I hadn't seen her. Not only because of the acting, but I have to say that her hair was also a character in the show. And as a person like me, that we are doing versions of natural hair, it was wonderful to see her hair expression that was on the show.
Somebody actually wrote an article about that.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
It was definitely a character in the show, I have to say. And I loved most of them, I would say. I loved most of them, not all, but most. And so since this is our first time talking about Insecure, for anyone who hasn't watched it, it is a show about basically some college friends
on HBO.
That
you can stream it on HBO Max.
You can that follows their journey into, I would say, mature adulthood. Right. It's watching them adulting. And going through career and relationship transitions and friendship transitions. And it's focused on the West Coast and primarily Inglewood, California. And it brings that community to life in a way that is beautiful and refreshing. And a great take on seeing some Black professionals living their life and going through the ups and downs of it. And it's a beautiful show. So if you haven't seen it, please, you would treat yourself to tune in to watch all 5 seasons of it, because it's a great show. But we're going to focus on the final season of it and how well they closed it out. I would say I'm one of those people that are probably tweaking closeout season finales of most shows, and I don't think I would have changed anything about the way they chose to close it out.
Well, with us both being writers and wanting to always be true to characters, from season 1 through, what did they have? 5? 5. From
seasons.
Season 1 through 5. There were times where I hated Issa. There were times I felt so sorry for her. The times that I wanted to just cry and, oh, girl, why'd you make that mistake? And the same for the other characters. The writing just blows me away. And it was the one wonderful thing I loved about the series is that they were true, 3-dimensional characters, and everything they did, even the mistakes, you could see these as possibly being things that can really happen.
Right.
And some of the stuff in my early 20s,
right,
that happened to me.
Yeah.
So that is what really, and I love seeing people of color I love seeing educated people of color, because we are educated. Many of us do have degrees. We have jobs and apartments and homes, and that's what I like seeing. Show me a real segment of our population, and that's what it showed.
And I love the growth, from the showing that even when you fall down,
there's a huge segment of our population that are educated and they are driving Lyft.
I was going to say, to see her leave her job to make that transition, because that's her betting on herself.
Absolutely.
And believing in herself.
Right.
And I love that.
And that was the wonderful line that she had at the end. It wasn't that other people weren't betting on her.
Yes.
She wasn't betting on herself.
And when she made that transition, it was hard to watch, but it was honest. It was honest.
It was necessary.
And I love that. And, and I love that the femme fatale, sexy person, Molly, was this beautiful, dark-skinned, smart attorney.
Yes.
The way Yvonne played that character, Molly, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, because you would not have thought that they would have seen the beauty that we all see. And I love that. I love that they made her that sexual being, and I loved it.
But also how she left a white firm.
Yes.
And went to and even how she questioned, am I doing the right thing?
Yes.
And her looking inward.
Yes.
And investing in herself.
Yes.
Her struggle with relationships.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
And I loved when they had the thing on there about the guy who had been sexually curious, and he told her about having been with a guy in college. He was the guy who worked at the car rental place. It was the guy she dated. He worked at a car rental place.
Must have blacked out one.
He might have. And she had this whole thing was like she could not get past that with him, and so they broke it off. And she ran into him at that outdoor movie theater.
Okay. Yes, I do remember him.
Yes.
And
so he was with his brother, and at first she thought he was with the guy, but then the girl comes up, and it was almost like she was like, did I make a mistake there, because she couldn't get past it. But once again, being honest with yourself as to what works for you and what doesn't.
But again, it shows in that writing, the arc, how that's what she said to Dorian in the closet. How she always pushes guys away. You're going to get tired of me.
Yes.
And that was her journey.
That was her journey. So,
yeah.
That was really good. And just watching all the friendships, how you had in this group of 4 friends, 2 that were really close and the other 2 that were really close.
Yeah.
But yet they did have a foursome friendship, but different relationships within that friendship, which is real.
It really is.
That was reality too. So it was just beautiful to see her find her way back to Lawrence, and that working. And it's reality that a lot of African American women have men that already have children, and knowing that that's not a no. It can work. It shouldn't be a deal breaker, but you get to have your own deal breakers. And if it's a deal breaker for you, it is.
It is.
And that's just that.
So this is a great place to segue to our next one.
Okay.
So when I think about that series and its demographic, I feel that even the writers probably aren't aware of the demographic. It wasn't just your 20-somethings, your 30-somethings, or your 40-somethings watching this series.
Right.
It did bridge over into an older population.
Yes.
And again, the writing, it wasn't quirky. It was engaging.
Very smart and intelligent writing.
Really, it was. So now,
I wish I could have found myself and you when they did I don't know if you watched it, the little ending one that they did where they talked to the cast and the writing team. Have you watched that yet?
I haven't watched that yet.
You gotta watch it because I was like, oh man, if Lori and I could have been at that writer's table. You watch it.
Okay.
It's great. It's a great way to close it up.
So that bridges us over into what's the name of our next one?
And just like that. Yes.
So we have now a series that is a reboot. When it was originally made, like Insecure,
right,
the targeted audience was your 20 and your 30
for
somethings.
sure. Yes, okay. It was.
And now we have a series with the same characters. They're older, and there's a lot of pushback from people about. I don't want to hear about hip replacements, because they are expecting the young, sexy girls living in New York City. Right. What do you think about this?
As if you can't be 50-something and sexy.
Right.
You know, and now that I've seen, have I seen 2 or 3 episodes? I know I've seen 2. Maybe I saw the third one. I can't remember. But in looking at it, you're going to now have that lead character from Sarah Jessica Parker going on this single widowed journey. And I think they're going to show us that, yeah, you can still be sexy and single at whatever age.
Right.
And I think that's what they're trying to show us. And it's okay to show a mature woman and her life, and that it's still a well-lived life, and how you have Miranda going back to school, doing that career change. You know, she did a self-reflection and realized she wasn't happy in her career. It wasn't about just the money for her. And so I think it's good for people to see those different journeys too. It doesn't have to just be about this youthful lifestyle that should draw us in and make people interesting.
So what do you think, or why do you think there is so much backlash or negative commentary on Twitter or Instagram about it? It can't all be that Samantha is not a part of the group.
I think that they maybe wanted to not, because not everybody's pro reboots, and they think you should just leave some things alone. And I think they were okay with the movies that they did, but I think they wanted to keep them as those young, youthful characters that drew them in the first place, and maybe they don't want to grow with them.
You know, I feel that it probably would have been maybe less commentary about it if the Sex and the City label was not tagged in any way to it at all. If it was looked at, these are the same characters, but this is a spinoff, which
it
is what it is.
Which is why it's not titled Sex and the City.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. And that's the part that I think people are missing. They're wanting to see these young, or even when they did the movies, they were older.
Right.
But it's like in their minds, I remember Sex and the Cities from the 90s. And I remember
and they're still on.
They're still
on. And there's a new audience that probably has enjoyed watching that. I just think it's an ageist thing, unfortunately. But I'm glad that they didn't allow that to stop them from moving forward, because sometimes you don't know what you can enjoy until you give it an opportunity. And I've had series surprise me in that way. Resident Alien surprised me in that way. You know, I'm not a huge sci-fi. I'm a sci-fi with a little S fan. But Resident Alien surprised me. So I think sometimes until you give something a chance, you don't know for sure if it's going to work and if there's an audience for it. And don't close your mind into who that audience is. And so I'm glad they did it. I hope it, I don't know what the numbers have been. I know there's been a lot of chatter of negativity, but I'm enjoying it.
I am too. I do think that we have writers and producers that realize the reality is that the people that are watching are not your 20-somethings. They don't really watch television or the streaming in the same way.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
So I think that you are going to see this shift. And I am seeing more of the programming where the lead is not always this young person. It is an older person. I think most importantly, let's just tell stories.
Yes.
Let's just tell stories
about everybody.
Yeah.
You know, where that interesting nugget of life could be. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. And it's okay. We we have seen them try to replicate what they think is the it thing or the mega blockbuster thing. But then you have those gems that break through. And so I think if they could just be more open-minded across the board in that way, it would not be so shocking that a series like Insecure could be as successful as it was, and a story about older Caucasian women living their life in the 50s, different versions of single, married, widowed. It can all be good, Let's just open our minds.
Let's just keep it real. Life is life. We all are going to cross over 40 at some point. And amen, and thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for aging in a way and not being ashamed of it.
And I think that even seeing that, some of the mystery behind it won't be there. And people will just see it's all a part of life.
Right.
It's a journey. And unfortunately, it's our country that has a huge problem with ageism. You don't see it as much in other countries. But I'm happy that Insecure came when Insecure came.
Right.
The writing and the storytelling that was done. And I'm going to hang in there with and just like that. Yeah. Just to say.
And let's see if 15 years from now that we're having a conversation about an Insecure reboot. As those characters
that would be interesting.
have matured and lived more life.
That would be interesting.
Are raising teenagers or having young adults. And so, as I say that, I smile because I would love to see that too.
I would love to be sitting at the writer's table.
Amen. Amen. I agree. That might be us making that pitch to bring it back and make that happen. So what I say to anybody listening, don't be closed-minded about what it is that you like and enjoy. Allow yourself to be open to a different genre, a different, whatever it is, platform to view it on. Open yourself up to some new and fun, entertaining experiences because there's some great writing out there, some great series out there, and go ahead and just see something new and different, something that you would normally not choose to watch. And you might be surprised that you really end up enjoying it.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of What Am I Thinking? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the ring bell so that you can be notified when the next episode drops. See you later.